Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a common kitchen mistake storing foods that should never see the inside of your fridge. You heard me right, some foods are better off left out on the counter, and I'm not talking about your takeaway leftovers. Stick around to learn why keeping these items out can actually preserve their flavor and keep them fresher longer. You might be surprised at some of the culprits, and trust me, your taste buds will thank you for it. Let's get cooking. First up, tomatoes. The cold air in the refrigerator is murder on their texture, turning them mealy and flavorless. You want a tomato that bursts with juicy, vibrant flavor, so keep them at room temperature where they belong. It allows their natural sugars to develop fully, giving you that sweet, tangy taste that makes a tomato sing. So, do yourself a favor and remove those tomatoes from your fridge. You want your tomatoes to be at their peak, ready to shine in a salad, sauce, or even just on their own with a sprinkle of salt. Honey, that glorious golden nectar, is a kitchen miracle. It's naturally antibacterial and antifungal, with a shelf life that could outlast us all. So why are you putting it in the fridge? Refrigerating honey just makes it crystallize and harden, turning it thick and difficult to use. Here's the science bit. Honey is a supersaturated solution of sugars, meaning it already contains more sugar than can normally dissolve at room temperature. When you chill honey, those excess sugars start to crystallize, giving it that grainy texture. It's still perfectly safe to eat, but it's hard to use. Keep your honey in a sealed container in a cool, dark place, and it will stay smooth, runny, and utterly delicious for years to come. Potatoes, these humble spuds, are nutritional powerhouses, but stash them in the fridge and you'll be doing your body a disservice. The cold temperatures convert the potato starch into sugar, which not only affects their flavor but also messes with your blood sugar levels. And let's be honest, nobody wants a potato that tastes like it's trying to be a dessert. Instead, store your potatoes in a cool, dark, and well-ventilated place. A brown paper bag in a pantry or cupboard is perfect. This allows them to breathe and prevents moisture buildup, keeping them firm and flavorful. Next up, bananas. These should not be refrigerated because the cold halts their ripening process, leaving you with pale, flavorless fruit. Embrace the banana's natural ripening process and keep them at room temperature. As they ripen, their starches convert to sugar, giving you that sweet, creamy texture and intense banana flavor we all know and love. If you must slow down the ripening process, simply separate the bananas and store them individually. But whatever you do, don't banish them to the cold, dark depths of your fridge. Up next, bread. Refrigerating bread causes the starch molecules to crystallize and release moisture, leaving you with a brick-like loaf that's drier than a desert. Instead, keep your bread at room temperature, where it can maintain its soft, chewy texture. Store it in a bread bin or wrap it tightly in a cloth bag to keep it fresh. If you're not going to finish the loaf within a few days, slice it and freeze it. That way, you can toast it straight from the freezer and enjoy that perfect crunch without sacrificing texture. Coffee, the elixir of life, is a sacred ritual for many. But storing those precious beans or grounds in the fridge is a culinary sin. The cold, damp environment of your fridge wreaks havoc on coffee's delicate flavor compounds, leaving you with a dull, lifeless brew that's about as appealing as dishwater. Instead, store your coffee in an airtight container at room temperature. This protects it from moisture, heat, and light, preserving its rich aroma and complex flavor profile. Garlic, the pungent king of the kitchen, is a staple in countless dishes, but storing it in the fridge is a recipe for disaster. The cold, humid environment can cause garlic to sprout prematurely, turning it rubbery and bitter, and nobody wants a mouthful of bitter garlic. Keep your garlic bulbs in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated place, like a basket on your counter or in a pantry. This allows them to breathe and prevents moisture buildup, keeping them firm and flavorful. And don't even think about storing peeled garlic cloves in the fridge. They'll dry out fast. Basil, the fragrant herb that screams summer, is best kept out of the fridge. Cold temperatures damage its delicate leaves, turning them black and limp. Plus, the humidity in your fridge can make basil more susceptible to mold and spoilage. It's a culinary tragedy waiting to happen. Instead, treat your basil like the delicate herb it is and store it at room temperature. Trim the stems and place them in a glass of water, just like a bouquet of flowers. This will keep your basil fresh and perky for days. Or, if you're feeling fancy, wrap the basil leaves in a damp paper towel and store them in a plastic bag in the fridge crisper drawer. But remember, basil is best enjoyed fresh, so use it as soon as possible. Avocados are creamy green gems, but refrigerating them before they're ripe is a cardinal sin. Cold temperatures halt the ripening process, leaving you with hard, flavorless avocados that are about as appealing as a mouthful of sawdust. Let your avocados ripen at room temperature until they yield to gentle pressure. Once they're ripe, you can store them in the fridge for a day or two to slow down the ripening process. But remember, avocados are best enjoyed at their peak, so don't wait too long to dig in. Onions, those pungent tearjerkers, are pantry staples for a reason. They add depth and complexity to countless dishes, but storing them in the fridge is a culinary no-no. The cold, humid environment can make onions soft and moldy. Plus, onions have a tendency to absorb other flavors in the fridge, turning your butter into an oniony nightmare. Keep your onions in a cool, dark, and well-ventilated place, like a basket on your counter or in a pantry. Make sure they're not stored near potatoes, as this can speed up the ripening process of both. Melons, those juicy summer treats, are best enjoyed at room temperature. Refrigerating melons can actually dull their flavor and alter their texture. The cold temperatures can also cause the melon's flesh to become watery and mealy. It's like biting into a mouthful of disappointment. Keep your whole melons at room temperature until they're ripe and ready to eat. Once they're cut, you can store them in the fridge for a few days, wrapped tightly in plastic wrap. But for the best flavor and texture, enjoy your melons at room temperature just as nature intended. Peppers, those vibrant and versatile vegetables, are often relegated to the crisper drawer. But storing them in the fridge can actually shorten their shelf life and make them lose their crunch. The cold temperatures can also damage their delicate skin, making them more susceptible to mold and rot. Keep your peppers at room temperature, out of direct sunlight, for the best flavor and texture. Store them in a bowl on your counter or in a paper bag in your pantry. Remember, not everything benefits from the chill of the fridge. Keeping these items out can enhance their flavor, texture, and nutritional value. It's all about understanding the science behind food storage and treating your ingredients with respect. After all, the kitchen is your playground, and you're the head chef. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and keep cooking smart.